I think he's done an able job of fleshing out one plausible scenario. And I think it's important to realize that this is a plausible scenario. On the other hand, I don't see why he thinks that is such a likely scenario. I mean, I think it's a scenario that could happen, and we want to be aware that it could happen. Why he thinks that's the most likely scenario, I don't quite get. But I say the same thing about Ray Kurzweil's projections, really. I mean, Ray projects a sort of kinder, gentler singularity.
Right.
Ray thinks that once the human-level AI comes about, it's going to be so integrated with our lives, inside our cell phones and our video games and our ATM machines and our robo-slaves and robo-dishwashers and robo-dildonic devices and whatnot. By that point, we won't want to give up AGI. It's not going to be us versus them. They're going to be a part of us by that point. And again, I think that's also a very realistic, very plausible scenario. And I don't quite understand why Ray thinks that is the overwhelmingly likely scenario either. I think both Ray and Hugo, who radically disagree with each other, I think they're both fairly overconfident of their preferred scenarios. If you look back at Werner Vinge, who introduced the notion of the technological singularity, I mean, Vinge, he was pretty clear. The singularity is a point after which we pesky little humans with our monkey brains don't know what the hell is going to happen. And I tend to be more of that school. You know, I think it's important to explore various scenarios.
Scenarios, yeah.
And it's important to work as hard as we can to make the more positive scenarios come about. I'd rather see Ray's scenario come about than Hugo's. But I think anyone who says they can
accurately predict what's going to happen,
estimate what's going to happen, I think they're kind of fooling themselves to an extent. And I mean, even if they're doing so with the best of intentions.
Sure. I understand. I just want to remind anyone here, then again in the text chat, if you have any other further questions here for Dr. Ben Goertzel, please get them out now in the next couple of minutes before we wrap up. What was I going to? I did have something on my mind, but it escapes me now for a second. Oh, the best way that some of us can, what is the best way it seems that we would be able to leverage our everyone at the Immortality Institute to help out with AGI and longevity research, the combination of the two there. And it seems, from what you're saying, is that lobbying influential people for grant money would probably be our most effective strategy at this point.
Well, I think the most effective strategy is everyone buys a lot of lottery tickets, and whoever wins donates money to the Immortality Institute. Apart from that, yeah. Of course, I mean, lobbying is valuable, spreading the word is valuable, and the other thing to consider, of course, is actually plunging in and spending a few years gathering the expertise needed to actually help with the research. I mean, if things go really well, we can make a thinking machine in 5 years, and then retraining yourself becomes irrelevant. On the other hand, I don't have a billionaire offering to fully fund my project right now, and Aubrey doesn't have his work fully funded by any means either. So I think if more people who really see the vision and understand that immortality is important, human-level thinking machines are important, ending suffering and ending scarcity are important. If more people who see this vision actually go into the fields of AI, molecular biology, life extension, nanotech, and so forth, we're going to see a big change. And I think for every one who gets the vision, who actually becomes a scientist and starts working on this thing, you're going to have 5 other scientists get converted to the vision and see what's going on. And then you're going to pull more undergrads and graduate students and young researchers into it. And I understand not everyone who gets the vision has the technical chops, but I've seen, there's an awful lot of programmers out there who think AI is cool, but they're working on web programming or some other thing that isn't really working toward the singularity. I mean, if those guys were willing to take a temporary hit in income for 5 years, go back to school and retrain an AI and help us build the thinking machines, that's going to make a big difference.
Or how about if they just did it part-time on the side? You had a large group of 100 part-time contributors.
The thing with the kind of work we're doing, and it's the same with the kind of work Aubrey or anyone else is doing, is it just takes a lot of specialized knowledge. So just being a programmer isn't enough. I mean, you got to know a bunch of computer science, and you got to know some mathematics and some cognitive science. I mean, it's not surprisingly. I mean, just to take another example, imagine building the first nuclear weapons, which was a more unpleasant project, but also a kind of large-scale, radical, innovative science and engineering project. What could the average guy do to help with that? Not a heck of a lot. They had to learn nuclear physics first, right? And I think AI and life extension are the same way. If you're smart and you spend a few years learning the background material, then in 10 or 20 hours a week of part-time effort, you could contribute a lot. But honestly, if someone doesn't know the background material, there's not that much they can do other than logic and other than lobby and donate their money is the truth.
Okay.
I mean, we have volunteers for OpenCog all the time who want to help out. But just because you know C++ doesn't mean you know enough to help build a thinking machine. And I guess same for the biology side, it's the same thing. I mean, unless you know how to operate the lab machinery, you can't do that much to really push things ahead.
Well, I guess then our forte at the Immortality Institute and other groups like it would be on the advocacy and lobbying end of things. Get money in the hands of people who know how to do it, right?
Yeah, or else, there's a lot of people on the imaged forums who are really damn smart and understand a lot, and could become really good life extension researchers if they put a few years into retraining themselves. So my mission is everyone's going to be unemployed anyway since the economy is going to shit. You might as well go back to school, get a degree in life extension research, and work toward the cause.
Go back to school. Yeah, that's right. I'm afraid the economy might slow some of our research efforts and some of the good things that could come about, unfortunately.
It might, although anyone who does have money is going to have an easier time hiring good people. So.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You are right. Well, with that, Ben, I will say thank you very much for the time this evening. Wonderful information that you provided, and I want to say people in the text chat, perhaps Ben will stick around for a few minutes and chat if you have any further questions. But this will be the official end of the interview. I want to thank you very much, Ben, for joining us on the program, and perhaps next year, if we have any major breakthroughs in artificial intelligence research, we can get you back on the show. So have a good evening, Ben.
Sounds good. All right, thanks for your time.
Okay, there you go, Dr. Ben Goertzel, who is also participating in the chat, and perhaps if he does not have anything else going on, he might be able to answer a couple of your questions yet in the text chat. But like I mentioned, this will be the end of the program, the recorded part of the program anyway. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. Dr. Ben Goertzel, Artificial Intelligence. And one thing I wanted to remind everyone of once again is the new forum that we have at the Immortality Institute for helping members. It's charity work. It's any kind of effort you can give toward people who might be ill or have other difficulties. Members of the Immortality Institute, and one particular person right now that we're helping out is the first immortal, William O. Wright, who has cancer. And just check out that helping members sub-forum that you see highlighted there, and you can see what efforts are going on. And other than that, I'll see you around the Immortality Institute forums. And next week, well, right now I have a couple different potential program ideas and guests, but nothing written in stone as of yet. But hey, check in the forums, Sunday evening update, and you'll see what we have coming up for next week. Perhaps maybe by Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll have an announcement on that. Other than that, have a good evening. This is the end of the Sunday evening update on December 7th.